Now, I have done a lot of Football Manager rebuilds. Some might say too many. But it's made me a pro when it comes to transfers. Whether it's rebuilding in the lower leagues of England, whether it's rebuilding in Asia, or in the top divisions of the European countries, I have managed to win nearly every single trophy on this game, using every single system as well. And I follow A's very simple method to build each and every squad. So today, I'm going to teach you exactly how I do it, how I set up my transfers, and how I build my squad for now and the future in every single rebuild you see on this channel. Now, I'm going to show you exactly how I did this in this old Brentford rebuild, which is one of the weirdest rebuilds I've ever done. They were relegated down to the Championship while winning the Europa League. And we had Champions League football in the Championship. And the reason that I'm going to do it on this rebuild is because this is probably the biggest rebuild I've ever done. You see this absolutely mental team here, which, by the way, I've got no idea how they got relegated. This is all I was able to keep because pretty much every single player wanted to leave due to the club getting relegated, meaning we had a true rebuild on our hands. Now, no, I didn't get relegated with this rebuild side. I did a special rebuild because it was in another rebuild that someone spotted Brentford got relegated. So I need 2 new strikers. I need a new defence, a whole new defence, a new backup goalkeeper, some backup defenders, backup midfielders, and I've also promoted someone from the under 21s. Now, how I set my squads out is probably my number one piece of information that I'm going to give you this rebuild. I set the squad out, I go through the tactic, and I make different save variations of the team. So you will see here, but previously we had the main team, and then I made this team here of everyone we're getting rid of, and this is the team we've got left. I also have one called full team once I've got a full team created. Now, what I have here is the team filled out in position, and you'll notice the bench is filled out in position as well. So Matty Cash as sub 2 is backup right back. Sepp van der Berg as sub 3 is backup right centre back. Backup left centre back is not available, backup left back, and then we move on to the backup midfielders, backup cams, and backup striker. So 1 through 11 makes up my backups on the subs bench in position. That way I can build a squad where 2 people have each position available. Then if I'm at a point where I'm trying to buy wonder kids and bring out players from the under 21s, subs 12 to 15, and new players between 15 and 18 years of age that are available for the under 21s. Now, if you set your squad up like this, you are never going to have problems with injuries. Well, to a point. You're never going to overplay players so they do get injured because there's always a rotation option for them. And you'll end up building a fantastically well-rounded squad. Now, financially, of course, in this rebuild, we had quite a lot of money. There was a lot of players to sell. And luckily for us, the reputation to be in the Champions League was pretty damn good. But I also had to think smartly, because if I was just to rebuild this team to win the Championship and not really think about the future, that'd have been very easy. But because we were going down to the Championship, we were also going to be in Europe, we had to think about the future and bringing in homegrown talent. Now, obviously, this is something that I can't sit down and tell you in every single save works, because in France, for example, you don't have to worry about your non-Brexit spots like you do in England or say in random nations. I can't think of one on the top of my head, but where there's a certain amount of, I think Turkey is one. You only have like 4 or 5 foreign players in your whole team. You have to build smartly in that way as well. But obviously I can't go through every single scenario. Look at your save, what the different requirements are. As I said, for this save requirement, we're dropping to the Championship. We need to build a squad that can go and pack up to the Premier League, but also compete in the Champions League with the registration rules. So there's a lot of different moving parts for each save, but setting your team up in this way of 11 and 11 is so helpful, and it's how I do every single transfer window. Now, as you can see, we have sold a lot of players, including up to £280 million worth, and we spent £180 million. So we're actually £100 million in the positive in finances, and this is the team that we ended up building. A whole new back line, keeping the 2 midfielders, a new left winger, and a couple of new strikers as well. And I'm going to go through each signing and say why. So Austin Gia is at this point a 24-year-old young Argentinian right back with potential for the future, but also really good for the Championship. Defensively, we're thinking long term as well. Lenny Yoro coming in from Manchester United, Levi Colwill coming in from Chelsea. Now, as mentioned, in this scenario, we are a Champions League side in the championship. That's why I was able to bring in so many big names. But again, I'm using cleverness, I'm using youth, and I'm using young players. Moving on to Emerson Vogt, who is completely different, a little bit older and bringing that experience. I do rebuilds where I sign just wonder kids. They are so much harder than doing rebuilds where you can sign whoever you want, because the dynamics on this game really do matter of having experience and youth. So bringing in a few smart players like Emerson is exactly what we needed to do. In DM, I was lucky enough to have a fantastic partnership of Stiller and Yanao already still at the club, and Buemo did want to stay, which is good, and Facundo Torres as well in the cam role. Jacob Ramsey was a signing I made for left wing, very similar to Levi Colville in young and English, more than good enough for the championship, and will progress loads for having a full season in the championship as well. And up front, a very similar signing in Jamie Donnelly from Tottenham Hotspur. But also, you can see the backups, 1 through 11, are made up now. So there is a backup player in each position. First up, Mike Penders, a loan signing from Chelsea, simply coming in to back up Olafsson, who is a fantastic goalkeeper. We ran out of money a little bit, to be honest. I didn't want to go massive. A loan signing, absolutely fine. That means Olafsson can do this season in the championship. And if I need to go out and get an absolute star and goal next season, I can, because I've not tied myself down to the expensive backup goalkeeper signing. Now, I did keep Matty Cash at the club as a backup right back, and Sven van der Berg as well. But I also then went and signed Callum Doyle, another young English centre back, and then James Justin, another experienced wing back who can play on either side. Now, this is almost like a bonus player, because Justin can play centre back, left back, right back. He's effectively our backup left back. But if both Gier and Cash are injured, he could play right back. If Van der Berg, Doyle, Colville and Euro are injured, he could even fill in at centre back. So a fantastic rotational option. You have to have a few of them in your squad as well. And again, is one of them players that has lots of experience. In DM, we brought up Yunus Emre Konak from the under-21s. Do not sleep on your youngsters. This guy was out on loan. I noticed him in the 21s. He's got decent enough potential, more than good enough for the championship at this time in his career. And it's going to be great for a season. If he develops into a superstar, bonus. We've saved a bunch of money. If he doesn't, he was a backup DM in the championship, which we're absolutely going to storm, and we do not need to spend money there. My next signing, Tyler Morton, a free agent contract from Liverpool. Look at free agents released from Premier League squads, especially as you start to get to this point, 2026, 2027, because you're going to see a lot of really good youngsters that have probably played about 100 games in the championship, but not quite that top tier Premier League side level. They get released and you can pick them up for free. Morton, an unbelievable backup DM for us. Anthony, we kept at the club as a backup right winger, Yarmouk and Harvey Barnes as well. And I brought in Liam Delap. Ipswich, were down in the championship as well. This guy, young, English, 24 years of age, will rotate with Jamie Donnelly. In fact, probably play more than Jamie Donnelly, and he'll absolutely smash the championship. And another whole year of playing championship football, he's probably going to be good enough to move on to the Premier League. Now, you're probably wondering how I go about signing all these players, finding all these players, and actually moving for them as well. And it's very simple. Recruitment focuses are massively important and are often slept on. Now, I use the striker and a left back as a standard recruitment focus to go out there and find me one. I found Emerson and James Justin for left back, and up front I found Liam Delap. I already wanted Jamie Donnelly, but finding that backup striker that could potentially move in to the first team spot was using your recruitment focus. Focus on your scouts. Obviously at this level now, we do have the best scouts in the league, so that's really helpful. But wherever you are, use your scouts. If you want to find a specific player really quickly, so we're going to go on goalkeeper, go 2.5 star, 2.5 star. Don't go too crazy. If you set this to say 3.5 star, 3.5 star, it will not find you anyone that has the white stars. It's really weird how the scouting works. You'll often also find that you won't actually get that many recommendations back. Like in this left back position, you have a lot of players in near matches and a lot of players in progress. You would never see them in recommendations. If that is the case, head to your scouted players, new search, left back, and you'll see they've actually scouted a whole bunch. Aaron Hickey, Aït-Nouri, Sergio Reguilon, Aidan Truffet, etc. There's loads that have been scouted, but sometimes the recruitment focus, it doesn't quite work properly in the recommendations, near matches, and in progress. So just use that little bit of information for you. But yeah, set it to 2.5 star, 2.5 star, or 2.5 star, 3.5 star if you're looking for a wonder kid who's looking to play right now. This will give you a potential ability of a player that maybe scouting wise is 3 star, 3.5 star, but due to the age of him, it will only show you that it's really difficult to explain in the white stars and how they work. drop it a star and it will make sense. You'll find a lot more players that are actually good. If you do it at full potential here at 3.5, or even, you know, if you do it too high, you won't get many results. If you drop it a little bit, you'll get lots of results, and they'll still be the same good results. You just have to filter through a few other players. And then my other scouting methods are the youngsters ones, 15 to 21, looking in Europe on going to scouts, and 15 to 21, this one, oh, that's the same one, also in Europe, but do it in South America as well as Europe. 15 to 21, 1 star to 2.5 star, or because I'm in the championship and I'm looking to go back to the Premier League pretty quickly, 1.5 star to 2.5 star will get you a few better players and a few better wonder kids as well. I've got loads of videos out on the channel on scouting, whether you want non-league free agent scouting, whether you want hidden regen scouting, which we uploaded recently. I've got a full scouting guide for Moneyball on the channel as well. So rather than that very quick introduction to the recruitment focuses we've got there, that's a really good way. Just go and watch them videos. I'll try to remember to link them up there. I might not do it though, because I'm not very good at remembering it. So just head on the channel. The thumbnails all look very similar. It's me standing there pointing with a tactics screen in the middle. You'll know the thumbnails when you see them. But that is the scouting methods that I use to sign these players. And obviously this season, Championship, Champions League, FA Cup, Carabao Cup, I have now built a full squad. A whole new squad. There was only 5 players that started in the starting 11 in the Premier League that are now in the Championship season. And I think it's safe to say we got off to a pretty good season. 109 points in the Championship, I'm pretty sure, is a record. 55 goal difference, 34 wins, 7 draws, 5 losses, scored the most goals, conceded the second least to Palace by just 1. And the squad built was really good. Throughout the whole team, defence really strong. Emerson played 14, Callum Doyle played 43 at left back as well, which was great. DMs were there, and Buemo at right wing was there. Torres, new signing Jacob Ramsey, 15 goals, 9 assists, and Liam Delap, as mentioned, I knew he'd smash it in the Championship, 25 goals in 29 games. Donnelly didn't quite smash it, so it was a bit of a mid signing, but it's going to be a really good backup next season to Liam Delap up front if we go down that route. Keeping players like Harvey Barnes and Anthony was really good for us, but also the free agent signing of Tyler Morton, 19 starts, 31 off the bench, 6 goals and 7 assists. Bringing up the young player, as mentioned, he was a 4th choice DM, hasn't worked out. He hasn't progressed into a superstar DM, but we didn't waste money on going to sign someone that was a little bit unnecessary, so we didn't. Same goes to backup goalkeeper, and keeping the older right back and less improved centre back also worked in our favour for that as well, because they didn't turn into anything and we didn't spend any money, so we can just sell them this season. But as I mentioned, I was building this squad for the future. I wasn't just building it for this season. I built it so we can go into the Championship, absolutely smash it, which we done. And just to note, also got to the round of 16 of the Champions League as well, and only lost in the FA Cup and Carabao Cup to City and Liverpool. So rebuilt the squad really, really well. But how would it fare in the Premier League? Now, because we've done a full-on rebuild last season, there was only a few signings to make this year. We signed Nahuel Chaser, who was a young winger/striker, Richard Trafford, who was a young 19-year-old right winger, Josh Doherty, who was a young 20-year-old left-back, and Sinsa Ragnovic, who was a young 19-year-old centre-back, as well as Samu Omaraiden to come in and be our superstar striker. And it's safe to say our first season back in the Premier League was pretty decent. After getting down to the Championship, we built Brentford straight to top 4 in the Premier League. I have not skipped anything. I have not missed any seasons. You can go and watch the full rebuild if you want proof of how this worked. We also won the FA Cup, beating Spurs, and the team was absolutely fantastic. It's the team you know and love. Liam Delap was a decent backup striker. Chaser, Torres, and Richard Trafford, Trafford and Chaser, both young and progressing. Torres, a great backup to Jacob Ramsey. Morton, 3 games, 20 off the bench. Cognac stayed as our backup DM because we didn't need anyone else. Doherty, really good backup left back to Callum Doyle. Justin Roganovic, Matty Cash as well. And goalkeeper-wise, Olofsson, really good. He was fantastic in the Championship. Dropped to 7.14 in the Premier League as well. Defensively, absolutely solid. Lenny Yoro and Levi Colville both grew tremendous amounts playing in a full season in the Championship, as did Austin Gia, which was great. And we actually built a very strong side over 2 seasons, from relegation to Champions League to transfer windows. And I've just shown you exactly how we done it. As mentioned, if you want to go on and get any other scouting methods, they are all on the channel. You can go through and find them. My main piece of advice, set your team out 1 to 11 in terms of starting team and 1 to 11 in terms of backup players. You'll rotate easily and you'll build a fantastic squad for the future. Thanks so much for watching the video. I hope I have given you some helpful information, and I'll speak to you next time.